Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for joining us on this lovely Monday evening, per usual. This is the Voice and Reason podcast here in the lovely, lovely year of 2021. My name is Sean Phillips. As always, I'm joined alongside my co host, Mr. Andy Van Beber. And today we've got two wonderful guests with us. I've got Mr. Zakk Eivins and Daniel Harvey. Gentlemen, how are you two doing? Or three, I can count today. It hasn't been that long of a day. How are you three doing today?
Doing good, buddy. We're glad to have some other Clopton alum on here with us tonight. The boys from Four Deep. Oh, before I forget, we want to give a shout out one more time. This is again Calamity's Reign. It is available on any of your Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. Again, give Charlie a listen. He has got some great stuff going on in that album. The lead-in song you just heard was called Scorpion Sting. It is, in my opinion, it's the number two out. The one we played last week, Manifest Destiny, was probably the best one on the album, but give Charlie a listen. But our other Clopton alumni here, we have Zakk Eivins, a.k.a. Sauce, and Daniel Harvey, a.k.a. D. Harv. Gentlemen, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, where you're at in college, and tell us a little bit about Four Deep Sports.
First and foremost, we want to thank you guys for bringing us on. V, I appreciate you repping the merch. There's our logo right there for you guys to see it.
They do make shirts. Some companies do make shirts that are 3X there, Sean. I just thought I'd
a little bit more
just for you.
I'm not going to let him live.
Daniel and I started Four Deep Sports early this January, February, March, something like that, right, Daniel?
Yeah, about January, I think.
It was something we had talked about doing for a while, all throughout high school. But then finally, new year, new us. We decided to actually get into it. Started out doing just a few pizza reviews, kind of just trying to be funny. But lately, we've really dove in and done a lot more actual sports stuff, which is kind of what we're more geared toward. Just reporting scores, getting takes. That's what we're all about. And we do have shirts. If you guys want one, just contact me. I'll give my info out at the end, but we appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, I must say, the two clips that you guys have, and you guys can follow Four Deep on Instagram. What's the is it Four Deep?
At 4Deep_sports. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram.
And there were two that I really,
and TikTok.
When you guys did a live with Landon Hall. I really enjoyed the one that you guys did with Landon Hall. And then my other one is more of a clip when I wish if I would have thought ahead, I would have got the video of it. But it was when Evan Loggeman got a hold of some dog crap with his weed eater. He said that was just I should have got that and brought that up for us tonight. But that by far is probably my favorite one.
Yeah, alongside the sports content, we just like pushing out funny videos. So that's what we're all about.
Well, it was a great one. So where are you guys going to school at? Where do you guys go to school at?
I'm here in Columbia at Columbia College. Really enjoying it so far. Studying business, probably business management. Haven't really made up my mind on that yet, but so far so good. It's an adjustment, but I think I'm doing all right. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm over at Mizzou, also in Columbia. Me and Daniel are just right down the road from each other, but I'm enjoying it. I'm studying journalism. Hopefully, get into broadcast journalism here soon. But I'm really having a lot of fun here. It's a lot bigger than Eolia and Clopton, though.
Yeah. So obviously, to say that we are having a kind of a sports theme night, there's a lot going on within the sports world, and we'll see how many topics we can get on. But I guess first thing that we should talk about is the one that's got every Cardinal fan scratching their head is the firing of Mike Shildt. And basically, so John Mozeliak calls a press conference on Thursday, and he says, we're parting ways with Mike Shildt, and basically his quote was, He said that where we felt the team was going, we were struggling to get on the same page. We decided internally that it would just be best to separate now and to take a fresh look as we enter the new season. And he also cited philosophical differences. What do you fellas make of that? I mean, what is that? Because the rest of us are scratching our heads. What did you guys make of that?
Well, the first thing that I saw when I came to this firing that was being reported, which is the most interesting, is actually that this was the phone call conversation that happened. He was not fired face to face,
Right.
which is wild for a professional sports organization, especially one with a storied franchise like the Cardinals. This isn't, some dog shit franchise like the Twins or anything like that. Like, this is a storied franchise. Where we play baseball outside like real teams. So it's wild to me that it went down that way. But in the same token, I'm not surprised. It is weird to see a coach with, what was it, 3 winning records back to back to back, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it 3 or 4? I think it was
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so where the question comes up, was this season, was it the management or was it the players, that the final run that led us to the wild card? In the wild card, we had some questionable management calls, especially with pitching towards the end. But it's kind of like, you guys have seen it when you watch sports, where there's people that are really good, maybe coaches that are really good, that just can't get the big one done. And maybe the Cardinals are kind of thinking, hey, with where our talent is, we should be expecting more, or maybe we just need to see if there's someone that can get us over this hump, just because it's been kind of stagnant.
So Sauce, what's your take on all this?
Well, as just a casual baseball fan, this move even kind of shocked me, because haven't they made the postseason the last 3 years?
3, and he took over. Yeah. So 3 of the.
So yeah, I mean,
right.
And you saw the way they ended the season. It's, you lose on a pitch in the wild card to the Dodgers, which had the highest payroll in the league. That's almost something, just to get there and be in that game and to be that close, to beating a giant like the Dodgers. It honestly shocked me a little bit. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't sure really when they said philosophical differences. I couldn't really get down to what they're winning games.
17-game win streak. What do you want?
Yeah, right. Like, they were slumping, and then they just turned it around. And like Sean said, you don't know if it's players or the coaching, but at the end of the day, the managers do have a large role in what goes on in the day-to-day operation. So I'm sure that Schilt did have a good deal of stuff to do with that run. What do you think, Daniel?
I'm not going to lie. I wasn't a big Mike Schilt fan at any point, really. But especially this season, before the win streak, we were not playing up to par with what we got. I think legitimately we could have won our division, and up until that 17-game win streak, we were just kind of hovering about 500. And I knew he had to be on the hot seat before that, but I honestly did not see this coming after that win streak. The Reyes thing obviously was, I didn't really agree with that move, but 17 games in a row, I didn't really see it coming just after that. But I can't say I'm upset that he's gone. I definitely think, like, moving forward, I don't see him pulling somebody from within the organization. I think they'll go outside the organization for their next head coach. But, we'll see. There's some options out there. I know, like, Skip Schumacher's been talked about, Matt Holliday, some past players. So, I don't know. It'd be nice to see what direction they move in. But,
well, just a few stats about his resume. He became he was the 50th team manager, and he started at this was the thing that got me. The guy has never played a day of pro ball, of minor league, nothing. And he came in as, I guess they said, as a scout in 2003. In 2018, he took the job after Mike Matheny was fired. And so, but this is the stat that I think is pretty alarming. Well, not alarming, just shocked me. Okay, so he had, where was it at? How many games? I don't know where it said how many games he had. But, okay, with more than 400 games, among managers with more than 400 games as managers, Schultz' 559 winning percentage was sixth in team history and ahead of Tony La Russa at 544, Whitey Herzog with 530, and Red Schoendice with 522. And when you put number, I mean those are big names. Those aren't just, you know, I mean I grew up with Herzog. I mean I grew up on Herzog, and that was what I knew as a child. And then when I looked at Tony La Russa, and you guys were young when Tony La Russa, but to me, Tony La Russa micro, and I as a kind of a closet White Sox fan. I mean I've watched him as he's managed the White Sox the exact same way he managed the Cardinals. I mean, he breaks everything down pitch by pitch by pitch by pitch by pitch by pitch, and he's a great student of the game, but he micromanaged. And then I thought Mike Matheny was a we got to meet Mike Matheny 3 days before they named him manager. That was the last time that the Fellowship of Christian Athletes had their kickoff banquet at Busch Stadium, and he was the speaker. And 3 days before he was named the manager, we got to have our kickoff banquet, or no, it was the end of the year banquet at Busch Stadium, and I thought that was kind of wild. And but yeah, I mean, do you think that Mike Schultz, is his career over now? I mean, is he going to be kind of untouchable? Do you guys think?
No, I think there's a bunch of dumpster fire MLB franchises that will be looking for a coach, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do well in another situation. I know things really didn't go our way in the city of St. Louis with him, but you know that doesn't mean that he couldn't have success elsewhere. But then I think for a guy that's taken a team to the postseason 3 times in a row, he's going to get another manager opportunity. There's no doubt. Now, that's where you're going to see, okay, if he's dog shit, if his team is terrible, then you're going to say, okay, well, they know it wasn't necessarily players. This is on management. And so then, but yeah, he'll for sure get another opportunity.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things. I wouldn't imagine him going straight to another team and taking over the head managerial position, but it'd be one of those things, I think, where he maybe started out at a lesser position and then work his way up to, like he did with the Cardinals, just up through the organization with that. I wouldn't see him. He's not like a real hot commodity, I'd say.
Yeah, and the other thing that I found interesting is, Schilt did take the high road today. When he gave his statement today at 11 o'clock, and he said, "I was taught not to talk out of school, and while clearly there were differences that led to this parting of ways out of respect for the organization and the people that run it, I can only express my gratitude. All the philosophies that were shared over many years, most of which were allowed us to part ways as professional friends. What differences there will be left remained unsaid." And he said 2021 was a real success, something that for all of us, part of the organization, take pride in. We have enormous pride in the 17-game winning streak, but decisions never are easy. Ultimately, something we felt like we had to do, is what Mozeliak said. And and everything that and maybe you guys know a lot about this, maybe more than I do, but everything that I was reading, all these editorials and everything, kept on talking about a book that had been written many years ago called The Cardinal Way. Now, have you guys heard of this book? He was by a past player, and basically it's been this Cardinal Way has basically been the philosophy of the ownership of Cardinal baseball, that and I guess it's good that they have basically what the Cardinal Way is having the bar set so high that they expect the playoffs every year. And part of that is, I guess, going beyond the wild card game. I mean, if Mike Schultz wasn't making that level of, I don't know. But the other thing that I'm kind of curious about is that I saw that today that the Cubs named a new manager. Not that I care about the Cubs, but again, how all of these, especially in the NL Central, because where do you guys feel about the NL Central as far as this is? In my opinion, it's probably one of the toughest leagues in baseball.
I definitely think it's probably in the top three. I mean, top half of the leagues. I mean, it's obviously tougher than the NL East, but NL West was tough this year. But top to bottom, before the Cubs, sold and everything, it probably was one of the most consistent. Obviously the Cubs fell off at the end there, but between Milwaukee and St. Louis, the Cubs and who am I forgetting? Cincinnati, but like those four are all solid. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough division for sure.
This new guy that the Cubs have brought in, Carter Hawkins. I don't know a lot about this guy.
Yeah.
But why am I Daniel? What was the name of their old manager?
Well, this is a general manager. I mean, their manager's Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Ross.
Yeah. So when you look at baseball as a whole, I mean, people, guys like me I'm more of a football guy, but I do, I always love watching, Cardinal, listening. I actually like listening to Cardinal and baseball more than I do. But some of the decisions going down the stretch, I think our biggest problem with the Cardinals has been, and since 2011, has been pitching and
relief pitching, especially.
Well, yeah, and I mean. And while we're talking about pitching, what's your feeling about Waino going another year?
Hey, man, I like it. I do. I'd like to see Albert come back and they can all go out together, but we'll see. I think Wainwright can most definitely be effective for another year.
So has Yachty said that is he coming back, or has he said yet?
Yachty said
he said a 1 year deal, didn't he?
Yeah, 1 year.
Well, that Albert just signed that one year deal and he was just picked up as a just basically, I don't want to say
free agent.
Yeah, free agent from Los Angeles. Yeah, just basically crosstown deal is what it was. So I mean, and I would love to see him retire in Cardinal red and just use him as a whatever you need him for. I know one thing, he'll sell tickets. He will sell a lot of tickets. So.
Yeah.
But that being said, we'll see where next year goes. But another issue, I think, unless you guys had something else you wanted to say about the Cardinals, I think, Sean, you wanted to talk a little bit about another issue that there's a lot of skeletons in the closet about.
Yeah. So one of the big things I wanted to talk about with you guys is the upcoming potential lawsuit of the city of St. Louis versus the NFL, and why this is actually a huge deal. But first, the big thing that we see in the NFL right now, and when I say it's a smokescreen, and I'm not like just trying to go on like some stupid conspiracy rant, the John Gruden emails situation is a sheer fire smokescreen that the NFL, John Gruden was simply just the lamb that needed to be sacrificed. One of the funniest things that I've read, aside from some of his emails, were the NFL did an internal investigation of over 650,000 emails sent from organization to organization, from reporter, from owners, all that good stuff. Did an internal investigation and stated that apparently of the 650,000 emails, John Gruden's were the only ones that remotely kind of said what he said. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on whether or not you think that's true or you think that's a load of shit.
Boss, you want to go first?
On that?
I'll go ahead.
First. Yeah, obviously this is big news concerning the NFL, and John Gruden is one of the I'm not sure if the NFL really wanted to sacrifice John Gruden because he's one of their biggest faces in the league, moved from Oakland to Las Vegas, and that transition was really headed by John Gruden. He was the face of the franchise. When you thought Raiders, you thought John Gruden. And I know he's just one of there was a report the other day about Adam Schefter. I'm not sure if you know who he is, NFL analyst. He's always reporting, news, trades. He's like the NFL's version of Woj, if it were the NBA. But they had found emails of him sending articles to GMs and owners and asking them if he needed to edit anything or if they would change the article, which is kind of interesting to me because that really pulls back a lot of his integrity as a journalist if he's allowing, the people he's writing the story about to potentially change and alter his story. That's just one of the things that I really found interesting. But when it comes to Gruden, I don't know, this is a touchy situation. And obviously the things he said weren't right or they should never be said. But I find it a little hard to believe that there was no other controversial emails found throughout the millions of employees of the NFL and of each franchise. I'm a little bit blown away that the fact that John Gruden's were the only ones that were deemed offensive or had anything newsworthy. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and I think like the main thing is, I mean, just if you know him like as a person, like his personality over the years, I think this was like a long time coming, kind of. I mean, you can't get away with some of the stuff that the dude says, and like in 2021, you just can't. I mean, I don't think the NFL necessarily wanted to do this, but I mean, it was brought to their attention, and he was just kind of, the one that he took the fall for all of it. Really, I think.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's a life lesson for him, I guess. You can't really do that kind of stuff. He shouldn't have ever done it, but especially now. I mean, to say it.
Well, there was an article that I read. One of the pages I subscribe to. You guys probably heard of it. It's called The Ringer, and The Ringer did this editorial piece on him on the 12th, and they said that this is who John Gruden always was, and that he was, he's always been known for saying racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. Just he's all over the place. Just some of the stuff that he had said. But one of the other things that I still about this lawsuit that with what Sean was asking about with this lawsuit,
which I've got some good info on that I will dive into.
And let me just ask you about this. So out of the 650,000 emails, Sean, the other one that kind of drew my interest was, communication between Jerry Jones and Stan Kroenke about how
and it wasn't just Jerry Jones. That's the other fun part.
Yeah, and I'll let you get into that. But I found that to be very interesting. That and the whole I read an editorial on SI today, and I read another editorial on CNBC Sports, and what they were saying was, they were all worried about what was going to be good for the league. And I mean, in the end, it's about, I think it's I know it's oxymoron to say this, but you're cheapening the value of the fan, because to me, St. Louis has by far one of the best fan bases in any sport. When this soccer league, I guarantee you, there's probably not a lot of soccer fans in St. Louis, but when this new MLS team comes to St. Louis, I guarantee you they'll probably sell out every game, because St. Louis is a true sports town.
Well, it's not just a sports town. St. Louis does have some of the most passionate fans and it's not like we won't support a team when the team's bad. Even when the Blues were absolute garbage for decades, fans still showed up to watch the Blues. But there was always a conscious effort that went into what the Blues were doing. Now, St. Louis is a sports city. Record attendance for the United States women's soccer team in the United States takes place in St. Louis. Sold out Busch Stadium, okay? We are a sports team. The XFL, the highest attendance record for it was a professional football league, but one that had existed for all of 4 weeks before COVID. Urban Meyered it up the butthole. So we literally have one of the most passionate fan bases. For those that don't know, before COVID had kind of snuck in, the XFL, the St. Louis Battlehawks, had sold over 60,000 tickets for the Edward Jones Dome. 60,000 tickets is insane. So to say that St. Louis didn't care about football is bullshit. St. Louis didn't care about the worst 5 years in NFL history. The St. Louis Rams had the worst record in NFL history over a 5-year span. That's a fact. And it was, if you watch those games, if you watched the management that we had between Steve Spagnuolo and Jeff Fisher, the team was horrendous, and they did not try to get better. And that was in part to what Stan Kroenke had planned. Stan Kroenke wanted to get back to LA any way that he could the minute that he had bought that team. First off, I just want to talk about how much of a scumbag Kroenke is in the first place. Do any of you guys know who his wife is?
No.
A young lady by the name of Ann Walton. Do any of you guys know who Ann Walton is?
That's the heir to the Walmart.
Yeah,
The
Walmart.
heir to the Walmart fortune.
I did not know
this son
that.
of a bitch married into his money, and he has now shit on the hopes and dreams of St. Louis. Okay. So the reason why I've taken a deep dive into this is because this is where I'm going to backtrack to the John Gruden emails. Okay. This is the first time in history, this court case that is upcoming. So I will cover some things. This is going to be the first time that the NFL has to publicly turn over information about the owners and a lot of these emails. Okay. So that's why I think the NFL is going to push hard for a settlement before January 10th. I'm going to take you guys through like a little bit of a timeline where a lot of this has come up. So for over 4 years, the city of St. Louis has tried to sue Stan Kroenke and the NFL due to unjust terms of relocating. So it's a weird situation. In the 1980s, when Mark Davis, I believe, relocated the Raiders to Oakland,
Yep.
It was a pretty scummy deal. And essentially they had kind of created a rule where it was like, I think it was Article 4.3, where at least 3/4 of the NFL owners have to approve a team moving. So where this is a big deal is if you guys remember around 2014, might have been 2013, Stan Kroenke bought a huge chunk of land in Inglewood, California.
Right.
So when that happened, automatically the city of St. Louis was on high alert of, oh crap, he's going to try to move our team.
Well, back that
And
up
the
real
first
quick,
thing
though,
out of
Sean,
yeah.
just to correct you on that, though. So Georgia Fontaine was the owner of the Rams from 2000, or I'm sorry, let me back up, 1995 to 2008, and then from 2008 to 2010, Chip Rosenblum and Lucia Rodriguez owned it, and then Stan Kroenke bought it in 2010. And just to give you guys, also Stan Kroenke owns if I get this correct, he owns the
Nuggets.
He owns the Nuggets. He owns the Avalanche, and I think that's it.
I think
Arsenal.
They own a
he owns
team.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yes,
Yeah, which
Arsenal,
is a
right.
Premier League soccer team, and
Right.
their fans hate him just as much as the city of St. Louis hates him.
But I just wanted to get that background there before you went into it too deep.
Yeah. So when he purchased this land, him and the president of the Rams at the time had claimed that they had no intention on relocating. This was specifically something else that was going on. Well, that wasn't the case. Now a lot of people outside of St. Louis that don't really know what this case is all about talk about how the reason why the Rams left was because of the Edward Jones Dome lease deal, which was a garbage deal for the city of St. Louis anyway. However, they had wanted an NFL team, so they had done it where essentially, if I'm not mistaken, the deal stated that every 10 years, a ownership would get to reevaluate um, the facilities that the team in St. Louis played in, and they had to be like the top 5 or top 10 in the league. And for those of you guys that know, when domes get built, they're getting built all the time now. And in order to maintain and stay in the top 10 or 5 even, is absurd to do it every 10 years. That's a lot of new stadiums back to back, unless you build something insane. But when St. Louis left, it had nothing to do with the dome set. The city of St. Louis had actually put together in the ballpark $36 million to form a council and to propose a new stadium plan for St. Louis. The plan was for it to be in the riverfront, was going to be a beautiful retractable roof stadium, looked pretty legit. However, owners voted anyway, and the team was relocated rather quickly. So this was a rather quick relocation. Okay, when it comes to like teams like the Bills, there's kind of like these rumors that they might be leaving. The Chargers, the talk of San Diego had been going around for a while. Same with Oakland. The Rams was pretty out of the blue when they jumped ship and left compared to other teams. Now, the reason why it's getting sketchy and the reason why the NFL might want to settle on a settlement as opposed to having more emails released to the public is because there was probably there was collusion on behalf of the owners. The Hunt family in Kansas City, Mr. Kraft out in New England, and Jerry Jones in Dallas were the big 3. Okay, alongside Stan Kroenke, who owned property near and around Inglewood, where SoFi Stadium is, merchandise, not like they own property. Okay, this was planned for them to make money off of one another. And it was a plan because Los Angeles is a bigger market. They convinced other owners, talked amongst other owners, and convinced them to pass this vote. That is what the NFL doesn't want out. And I can guarantee you that those conversations are sitting inside a lot of the emails that were discussed that the NFL doesn't want to release. Now, a settlement would mean St. Louis would get a lot of money and might put them in good standings with the NFL. But I'd like to get your guys' take on this. Would you rather the city of St. Louis take a settlement, or would you rather them push to court? And I'll get into the court, what the dealings with court is, because Stan Kroenke and the NFL have pushed hard to avoid court, but the state of Missouri will not let them. Or would you rather, guys, let this go to court, see if the city of St. Louis can win back some money, or see if the city of St. Louis will take a deal and not only get some money, but also an expansion team?
D-Harv, what do you think?
I mean, I think the ideal would obviously be to get an expansion team, but I don't know. I mean, for them to actually get that all worked out would probably be pretty difficult, but I definitely think they should take it to court. I mean, just based on everything you just said, it pretty much seems like the NFL has got something they're hiding, and they know they're hiding it to cover Kroenke here. And I definitely see them getting a lot more money if they were to take it all the way, and not just, go for the settlement. At this point, we don't have much to lose. I mean, our team's gone. And so, I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I think them leaving altogether was, it was a scam the whole time, because I went back just now looking like attendance, and it's not like our attendance wasn't any lower or anything like that. I mean, we knew we had a good fan base, so there's really no real reason I can see. I know you said the deal there with, keeping the facilities up, but I mean, I went to games there. There was nothing really wrong with it. I mean, we can all agree on that, but I think overall it's definitely a scam on Kroenke's part and all these guys.
It depended on where you sat at. And to me, as a guy who had been to 2 border war games, or two bragging rights games, and I watched. I would go there for preseason whenever the Rams played the Chiefs, and the year that they went to the Super Bowl, I was only able to get in the greatest show on turf, and I was only able to get for those games, for the bragging right games or for the whatever game between Illinois and Mizzou and the year that I went when they went to the Super Bowl, we were able to only get nosebleed seats. You know, when you sit up there on ZZ, up there at the very top, to me, I mean, I've sat nosebleed at at the Rockies game. I've sat, and Danielle, I know you've been to a ton of different venues before, but to me, part of and I'll play devil's advocate just for a second here, Sean, and you guys can respond too. The Edward Jones Dome, number one, wasn't put in the best in my opinion, is not in the best location in St. Louis. When you go to Busch, you've literally got 3 ways to get into the park. 4 ways, I mean, if you want to walk through Ballpark Village. When you went to the Edward Jones Dome, you had to, number one thing that was wrong against it was locked on 2 sides. And it was on the it would have been on the west side. Well, it's kind of turned at an angle, so at the west side and on the south side, you couldn't. I mean, you had to walk in. There was no, hey, drop me off. You had to be dropped off, and then they usually had traffic funneling around it, so it was a nightmare there. And to me, inside that dome was like when you were up in the top, it was a bat cave. Now, when you sit down in the bottom ring, I went and watched one of our Thanksgiving traditions used to be we used to go watch the state football playoffs, you know, and you could sit down there in the bottom ring. And I know, Sean, you've been to sit in the bottom ring at Battlehawks games. And so, you know, there's a gripe about that. But, you know, and then attendance numbers towards the end. I mean, in the beginning, you again, they had the PSLs that you couldn't get anything in the bottom ring. But I don't know. To me, after the greatest show on turf, and you know the Rams went to the Super Bowl there 2 years in a row, and like you said earlier, Sean, I thought management just totally destroyed that. Now, and then I'll let Sauce put in too. One of our viewers did say, Mark Hendricks said, "I don't trust the city to actually spend it wisely, especially with the leadership." And I know you're going to give us a dollar amount here in a second, Sean, but do you? And Sauce, maybe you can further on this. I mean, was it bad management? What do you think about all this?
First, I want to backtrack. The Dome, not in a very good place right now. I went to a Supercross event there a couple years back. The only good thing about it, they had found sun drop. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy who went to the Rolling Stones concert there the other night. Said it smelled musty just walking in the hallways. Never a good sign for a dome. It looks terrible from the outside. It's an eyesore. But Sean, I want to get back to what you said on why the NFL wants to settle out of court so bad. The NFL, like many other sporting organizations, made up of owners with a lot of money. And if this does go to court, they're going to have to release their financial records. You see a lot of these team valuations are completely just like people are guessing. They're just kind of looking at what somebody's supposed net worth is, and they're just kind of taking a guess off that. This will give NFL Players Association a real deep dive on actually how much the owners are worth, how much the teams are worth, and how much money they're getting screwed out of, which is a huge thing because there is a new CBA coming up soon. And if those financial records do get released, the players are going to be asking for a lot more money.
I was going to say the
which could lead to a lockout, which could lead to who knows what, but it could be very bad for the NFL, and that's why they want to settle this out of court as quickly and as quietly as possible.
That was exactly the next point that I had to make is quite literally just like he said. These teams they're estimated values. The net worth of these owners are estimated values. So this is actually something because it's the state of Missouri. Missouri requires these individuals to turn over these documents. And I think like right now, Stan Kroenke is actually being fined. It's something like $1,500 a day because he was told to turn over these documents and he still hasn't. They will also be requesting the same information from the Scumbag Hunt family, this Kraft, and from Jerry Jones as well. But again, he knocked it out of the park. The NFLPA is going to probably roll over in their grave when they see what some of these owners are making. And then they're like, that is the cap limit that you've been putting for the players of this organization. But not only that, cities are going to come after their owners because they are now going to see what their owners are making. And a lot of, if you guys know, a lot of these cities have made deals where they pay a big chunk of change for the actual stadiums, for a lot of the facilities themselves. And that was one of the big breakers that the city of St. Louis is pushing hard against the NFL. Was Roger Goodell was commissioner at this time, and he was booed every time he goes up for the draft, and rightfully so. The guy's a scumbag. Mm-hmm. So when the city of St. Louis put together their stadium proposal, the city of St. Louis was going to pay a lot of their own money. Taxpayer money was going to go into this. Stan Kroenke was going to pay a very minimal amount for this stadium. Okay. And on top of that, the thing is the city of St. Louis was going to request a $100 million loan from the NFL that would be paid back. However, they asked for a $100 million loan to help them facilitate the building of this new stadium. Roger Goodell stated when the Rams relocated that $100 million was an absurd amount and was unrealistic, and that an unrealistic proposition had not been made for the city of St. Louis. However, when Stan Kroenke built his SoFi Stadium in California, which he paid for out of pocket, he went over budget within, I think it said something along the lines of like the first 2 or 3 months, mm-hmm. and was granted a loan of $300 million from the NFL. So after being told that $100 million was out of the question for the city of St. Louis to take out, Stan Kroenke alone was given a $300 million loan from the same douchebag that told the city of St. Louis no. Okay. But no, and again, the same thing, like I said earlier, and like Zakk, you had touched on, aside from the NFLPA, local businesses are going to find out exactly what kind of money is being made in these areas. But again, the big thing, the disclosure of emails, texts, other materials that could cast a negative light on important figures in the NFL. All these owners have been talking. Now, the city of St. Louis will seek billions. So I've been watching a lot of different like KSDK, St. Louis reporters/lawyers talk about this. A lot of them are torn. Some are saying the city will go for a settlement, and that's to try to stay in good standings because the NFL is going to expand. The NFL wants to expand. I'd really like to have one of our local reps back on because Missouri needs to get sports gambling. It's because of sports gambling that the NFL is going to grow. I read an article. The NFL wants to expand to 40 teams by 2040. Okay. They want to add 8 more teams in cities that don't have teams. And St. Louis deserves to be one of those cities. Now, when it comes to the lawsuit, if we don't go for a settlement, okay, the city of St. Louis will seek billions. They might cut a deal and that's based off of like lost revenue, what the city put into the Dome, what the city put into the Rams, and had it taken away.
Let me put something in right here, Sean. Mm-hmm. I got some numbers for you here. So the lawsuit alleges St. Louis has lost between $1.85 million to $3.5 million per year in amusement and ticket tax collection. It added that roughly $7.5 million was lost in property tax, $1.4 million in sales tax, totaling over $100 million in the revenue for the city. The suit also claims that the county of St. Louis also lost hotel, property, and sales tax revenue after the Rams located. The impact of the state totals more than $15 million, and the lawsuit used figures from the Missouri Department of Economic Development. On top of that, the Stan Kroenke refused to, and according to some information on this article, Stan Kroenke refused and even dodged Mayor Francis Slay and the governor at the time, Jay Nixon, to meet with those. So the opportunities were there. The Jay Nixon and Francis Slay both wanted to meet with Stan Kroenke on how can we avert this? And Stan Kroenke already had, and going back to what you earlier said, Stan Kroenke already had his mind made up, and there obviously there was collusion between the owners. I mean, it was when that vote came up. That was a unanimous vote, by the way. With one, well, I'll take that back. There was one abstention. There was one abstention in that vote, and in that owners meeting, that was a unanimous vote to pull St. Louis out of, or pull the Rams out of St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. The other deal with the settlement could be St. Louis could be looking at one of the first cities to get an expansion team, which would be awesome. However, that does beg the question, though, and some people disagree with me to this day. I'm praying that 2023 the XFL will be back, and it will be back to stay. Lifelong Battlehawks fan here. That was one of the coolest experiences. There's nothing like being able to go to a game. I've been to a lot of Chiefs games. Unfortunately, I've seen kids get pushed over by their wide receiver dads, get their arms broke, girlfriends beat in the stands by the Chiefs players.
Come on.
So it's nice to have the environment where you don't have to be surrounded by that.
Oh my God!
I had to throw it in there. I had to throw it in there like I'm Urban Meyer at my bar.
Oh my God!
Zakk, did you hear about that story where Urban Meyer was playing the old finger bang on a young
I heard about
in
that.
Columbus?
I think
the video's
NFL
out there.
Is a wild place right now.
The video is quite entertaining. It's to see him putting kind of. One of our viewers
NFL's just
go ahead.
Full of scandals right now. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, I said one of our listeners did say, and he said in his opinion, the NFL probably should have paid the San Diego Chargers to go to St. Louis and not move forward with a lawsuit. And then he asked the question, didn't the city pay a couple of $1 million for for architects to rendering a stadium down by the river? And we did mention that earlier.
It was they put a crew and committee. It was $36 million that the city of St. Louis had put together.
Well,
which is wild that
Chargers.
it costs.
Go ahead.
Sean,
no, I was just going to say it's wild that they spent $36 million to just create a fake stadium plan. That legitimately blows my mind, because when it comes to, like he had said, they don't trust the lawmakers of St. Louis with that money. If St. Louis does take a settlement, what are they going to build another Del Mar trolley loop for money to have 4 homeless people ride? I mean, it'll be that's my biggest thing, is I hope that St. Louis doesn't take the deal for their own pockets. I really do hope that they try their best to bring football back to St. Louis, because I mean, could you imagine? Look, St. Louis would have a hockey team, baseball team, soccer team, 2 pro football teams. We'd make a case for getting an NBA team. So I'm just saying.
V talked about the Chargers moving to St. Louis, which is what should have happened. That'd be an idea I'd really like to see happen, because first of all, they have to share a stadium with the Rams, which no team wants to do. And you see these Chargers home games are actually road games for them, because the small amount of Chargers fans in LA is amazing to me. I know they've always been in San Diego, but they have a really talented team. Sadly, they got their ass whipped yesterday by the Ravens.
Yeah.
But that would be an idea I'd like to see go forward. If they were to expand, maybe for the NFL, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, because not all your eggs, but most of them. I mean, if you bring the Chargers to St. Louis, that's another city worth of revenue, because I don't know, that's just an idea I'd like to see happen.
Well, here's
or at least
what could
talk
happen
about more.
If the NFL decide, unfortunately, the Chargers aren't going to relocate for probably a little while, which sucks. There's always the opportunity. I don't think that the fans of Buffalo would let the Bills leave. That is,
Bills Mafia is here to stay.
Yeah,
up in the air. I wouldn't be upset seeing Bills Mafia make its way to the city of St. Louis. Don't think it's going to happen. Wouldn't that be something?
Dave Tucker would like to see that too.
He would.
Mine and Dave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's having my dreams right now about it.
There's a couple, like, Jacksonville. There's always talks about Jacksonville relocating,
and that is by far, that is, I have friends who live in Jacksonville, and that by far is, they do not. I actually was watching a little bit of that game on Sunday on my NFL package, and that, for having, I don't think I've ever seen a full. I mean, I've never heard anybody say capacity crowd. I mean, when you see the shots of that stadium, not, that to me is probably one of that was a weird move, I thought.
Yeah, and it'd just be interesting because Shad Khan has put a lot of money into a lot of development around that area, around Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. But if Meyer doesn't last longer than he did with that young lady, then it could be a rough time in Jacksonville. But I'm totally biased when I say it, but I do think St. Louis is deserving to be cool to get our own new team when that happens. But I mean, look at it this way: is the setup that they could have is they've got two options. They could the NFL team could play in the new soccer stadium. It would kind of be like the Chargers did for a little bit, where they played in an MLS stadium. Ours is a little bit bigger. Ours would be able to hold 18,000, which would be, I mean, not the biggest, but it would sell out for sure. Or they could play at the Dome while the new stadium's being constructed. Mm-hmm. So,
well, let me throw this out there too, Sean, and you guys. So the other move that I caught in a lot of my research, and you mentioned, by what year did you say they wanted to expand to 40 teams, Sean? By what year?
2040.
Okay. So the other thing and of course we've seen our share of NFL international games in London and in Mexico City. In London, last week they played at Tottenham Stadium, I believe is the name of that stadium. Tottenham. They've played at when they play at Wembley. Now Wembley is a 100,000+ seat stadium. It's the largest soccer stadium in the world, I believe, and they came dang near to selling that thing out. And what do you guys feel about? I mean, is this something that you think will come to fruition of NFL going international?
They want it so bad in London as opposed to Mexico City, because God forbid a kicker misses like a game-winning field goal and is just murdered outside his favela or something like that. But it doesn't make sense for the players. And also, like, the NFL owners, they just care about cash. Like, it comes down to, if their TV deals suck, they're not going to do it. If they're not, I mean, who wants to watch a game at 8 a.m?
You're right.
On a Saturday? Exactly. Who wants to play that? And then it begs the question of, like, okay, imagine being that team where every other week you're flying from London to America. Like, do they just set up camp if they've got a 2 week in a row? Like, how does that? The Bengals don't even have an indoor training facility. What makes you think that one of these a team from London? It's just,
well, let me just.
Mexico City makes more sense just based off time zones alone.
But okay, so
what about Canada?
Yeah,
Toronto could be an option.
Yes, Toronto. So back when NFL, I think it's probably predates a couple of you guys. Sean, do you remember NFL Europe? This has been, well, I only mention that because Kurt Warner, after he was with the Iowa Barnstormers there for a while. He did his stint over in Amsterdam, which, well, there you go.
What was the name of that team? Do you remember? Because I read his book, and now that you say that, I actually feel like I remember, because I read the book about Kurt Warner. And the only issue that I ever had with it was he said that he was better than Brett Favre in it, and I was like, all right.
Come on, yeah, Kurt. But he was the NFL Europe team. I mean, and that was and some of those cities just did not. I mean, because the Amsterdam Admirals.
Yes.
Was
okay. Yeah.
So who he played for, and so the NFL Europe, but it was kind of like in NFL you kind of use that like their feeder system, like double or triple A ball or whatever, and so they had, let's see, they had the okay, so you had the Amsterdam Admirals, Frankfurt Galaxy, Berlin Thunder, yeah, and Scottish Claymores, Rhine Fire, Barcelona Dragons. So you had one, two, three, four, five, six teams and then they would have the Rhine Bowl or they would have the World Bowl in wherever. And so, but that was, and their attendance was, but like I said, I think that's why they're sticking with London because London would have, a good sell. But I don't know to do international, like you said, international football. I think the boys want to keep the money here at home.
Yeah. Do you guys see potentially like the XFL underneath the helm of The Rock and Danny Garcia? Do you guys see the XFL actually sustaining long-term success?
I would say so. Go ahead, Daniel.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I'd say so. I mean, I think this group of management is better. And it's just kind of unfortunate that the timing aspect that happened with the XFL in the first place, no one could brace for that financially or just even see that coming with the whole pandemic. But I think if, with this, it's a larger group of investors instead of just being run by, was it just Vince McMahon that ran it?
Yeah, he had hired a team around him, but it was solely
he was the owner
money.
of all the teams, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Basically. Now you have a group, more of a group aspect, and with a face like The Rock, who seems to be everywhere nowadays. It's getting almost like Shaq, but with a guy like that who's really marketable, I think I could see the XFL sticking around. And to go back to what you said about the expansion of the NFL, I could see before anything, I could see him adding a few cities in America, but incorporating some of the CFL teams, like Toronto. I know it was like the Red Blacks. Just I could see them doing that because Canadian football is starting to gain a little bit of traction within the last 10, 15 years.
And Sean, just for your, I do want to pull this out too. So I just pulled up the XFL's attendance numbers. Average attendance was 18,125, and you were right. The high St. Louis had on Century League Field in I believe that's Seattle had 29,172. That was the only one that was even close. They had a 29,000 and they had a 22,000, but then you had a 27,000 and then another 29,000 game. But that's when they opened up. I'm assuming that's probably when they opened up the top ring.
No, so the two home games that we had were like 29 or 28 or 30, like right in that ballpark. But the third game, so that we had a week off where we played in Seattle, I think, or Dallas, and then we were supposed to come back to St. Louis. And I remember because I got emails on it where they had opened up the upper section once they had hit like 55,000 seats sold. So they had sold the ring and then the middle section. They were up to 55,000 seats sold because the dome itself holds like 68 or 70. And I think that like the last number that I had seen like on Ticketmaster, because I would look at it every day, there were only like 9,000 seats available. They had sold 60,000 seats for an XFL team. So but then the game was canceled, as was the entire league. So I would be interested. I would say the biggest issue that the XFL had that I'm hoping that they fix is there's just a couple teams that need to relocate. Los Angeles does not need a team. Los Angeles has two NFL teams. They will not support an XFL team. And they definitely won't support the XFL in a stadium that's not SoFi. New York has two teams, two NFL teams playing at MetLife. They do not need an XFL team. You had cities that did that had XFL team, like DC had good attendance. Seattle also had good attendance, but they don't need to play at CenturyLink. Send them to the MLS field. Send them there where they can still sell 25 to 30,000 tickets and it looks good on TV because the stadium is filled. Don't have the patchy ass CenturyLink field on TV. Same with DC. DC didn't need to play on FedEx Field. They should have just played where the MLS team plays. And then I'll say the same thing again for the Dallas and the Houston team. Both had good attendance, like decent numbers, but just play on your play where the soccer teams are, because you can fill the stadium to capacity, okay? And that's what the TV people care about. If it looks like crap there,
it's not going to sell.
You're going to make more money from the TV deals if the stadiums are sold out. St. Louis could play in a dome. Now, this is where if you relocate teams, like Tampa had a team, not good attendance, move them to Orlando where they don't have an NFL team. Move the teams out of New York. Move them somewhere like Columbus. Omaha would do super well. Portland would do super well. Again, they have a soccer stadium. Move them to a couple of these other markets, like stay in the top 50, stay in the top 40. Of markets, but just go where they don't have NFL teams. Go there and they will have the same turnout that St. Louis did. It's for me, it was like a no-brainer. I get why they were like, if we go to LA, if we go to New York, they're huge markets, but the NFL teams in New York suck. Why the fuck would you go watch a even shittier minor league team? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I would love to see the XFL. So what is it, the NIL, or is that the how college kids and high school kids are making money now?
Yes, they're getting paid off advertisement using their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah,
which is what NIL stands for. Yeah,
I would love to see, like, there's potential now where high school players or college athletes that might not have made a whole bunch of money through the NIL or might not, have gone undrafted, and that's why the XFL is brilliant. I think The Rock has the team around him where the XFL could become a farmer league to the NFL. And now there also has to be rules, because it would suck to have like a super good XFL team. You're about to make your championship run, and then your quarterback like gets plucked to go play for the worst team in the NFL because our quarterback sucks ass, so we're taking this guy. There would have to be like some rules and regs for it, but I think the NFL needs a feeder system, and then that would just give those teams, like, how cool would it be if the Battlehawks fed teams to teams in the Midwest, or something like that, like Midwest, or so many teams could pick.
Yeah. Well, and there were a number of XFL guys who were picked up at least by practice squads in the NFL.
Taylor Heineke is the starting quarterback, and he was the backup in St. Louis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another guy, PJ Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker. Yeah, stud.
Yep.
Played for Carolina last year. Played a few games.
Yep.
And there's a couple other like safeties, corners, and receivers that have actually made it. I think St. Louis had like 5 players that are still playing this year.
Yep.
Didn't Teamu end up on a practice squad somewhere?
For Kansas City.
Teamu
was with Kansas City.
Been tossed around practice squads. Like,
and I thought that kid was an absolute
sorority
stud.
Girl at Urban Meyer Bar in Columbus.
I thought that kid was a really good player too.
Yeah, the throwing Samoan. He's a stud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we thank you for being on tonight, and tell us a little bit about how our viewers can find you on Instagram and everything.
So, like we said, our @ is 4deep_sports, and we just started a TikTok as well. We haven't posted anything yet, but we're gonna start working on that and try and expand. Like Zakk said earlier, we got these shirts for sale. Hit them up if you'd like one, and we got a couple other things in the works. Looking to order maybe some more merch and put that out for you guys. So if you guys have any ideas, just send them our way. And Zakk, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and if you have any funny videos, DM us. We're always looking to post content. That can be sports. That can be just for laughs. We're just looking to post anything we can.
That can be hitting dog shit with your weed eater.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Instant classic.
And gentlemen, I want to reiterate a point that our guest host brought up last week, please look behind Sean and notice that he does have a circular bed behind him. We have been bringing that up regularly. That so that and now it looks like you have
I'll show
light.
you guys how it works one of these days.
You have lights. Is that lights hanging off the bed too, Sean?
They're lights / handcuff links.
Oh,
God. Oh,
No, I wish they're just lights. They're just
yeah. Well,
keep the cuffs in.
yeah. Good job today, guys. And we definitely will have you back on again. We love having repeat guests when we have some. Anytime you want to be on about non-sport issues, we'd love to have you on too. So,
of course.
Yeah, and of course, and I'll do the run through quick. Make sure for our listeners, check out Van Beber and Sons DJ Services. If you mention the Voice of Reason podcast, when you reach out to Mr. Andy Van Beber, he'll give you 10% off your DJ services and a quarter half off, half and half in the bathroom. So a good deal there. American Traditional Coffee, AmericanTradtionalCoffee.com, 40% off store wide on our shirts. We're working on getting those big guy shirts in, but also a whole bean and ground coffee. And again, on Instagram, make sure you check out the number 4 deep, as in DEEP _ sports, SPORTS, at 4 deep _ sports on Instagram, where they'll do pizza reviews in the greater Columbia area, talk a little bit of sports, have absolute dog shit power rankings, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
But yeah, this was a fun episode, guys. You're always welcome back. Gentlemen, is there anything you guys like to add before I sign off here tonight?
Also, don't forget.
Appreciate you having us on there.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out our boy Charlie Tadlock on Calamity's Reign as well.
Yes, Calamity's Reign, Charlie Tadlock on Spotify. And again, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, right here on Facebook. We are the Voice of Reason podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Please, 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 we can't grow without you. Please just give us a like, give us a share. If you're going to work, if you're going to a sports bar in Columbus, Ohio, please just let anyone know, about this podcast. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
Let's see you guys.